Ilma dang gombo zen jambe yang shang za lui gang ge lu zhe zhen ye zhen da nian da nam da ra san jin yan den gen ji xie zi chi nian yan dong ka le ban zen gang da si bian zhen ra ma ri men dong a ge zi 周遭跟来个些的这眼来的出阳的，这大些这年末年老来个张中正在进，马瑞们是东爱娘个今年正在让追南。人人的金色是的是元旦的做个谁都为苦。有大只大这年干着到了门上长辈养来的，马拉巴多的，马拉巴多的，马拉巴萨那给给拉瓦萨给到了的么门巴拉萨呢。噶当天就上了都白，老着旁边那我走对手，感谢到人的白，总是这我的那样。我不想让今年给面包样，同我来说，共产党是个人是热心。被骂真把你说，所说那不娘的要做做，他得了嘛，做乱的。我见三界你边吞界三德千中头将随我人个。nam dar sam ye nin de ten zhe guen chou zhe lin bei xiao la so wai de jiang bai xian la bei me nam ba zhun de la se la jie yang si zhu sun ba gong bai ten ten bei man dong ma lin jia yang jian zi wang bo so wai ga de luan jian bei ren nam ba zhun zhen qian nam ye xing de nam sun zhi mi men ten ze yuan den ya zi de luan jian ta ye shang luan so wan de wo mei zhi ge yin ge bo zhang de san san ge kun ye ngo Astem Chungkru Mansoyan Denze Tlavie Lame Shavlo So Ande Nomo Ayadam Bala Yengen Namo Dane Zende Dum Dalami Egen To Ngen Raji Jizamba Dam Jenge Munda Ji Cheten To Manam Gadan Semjen Tamje Tamje Sanje Ji Salam Gobaracha De Chetin Dagi Kare Tembe Chesa Nyambe Kulong Chanjo Simsal Da December Shu
Please listen to the sacred Dharma with the motivation of bodhicitta, thinking that I will listen to the profound Dharma in order to establish all of my mother sentient beings on the omniscient state of Buddhahood.
다 간시 선벌처에 쳐디 라메트도 벌칙은 지금 원로래 원로 지된된 라 드네 담보 원로 직절 니바 원로 같이 바 숨바 원로 냠린 지딩 디슨 시바 원로 디장 초사인투 마보 나바 원로 예와 제예 발레 아니 원로 예외 나라 저바 원로 튼징 원로 모신 원로 예바 나래 모신 원로 나라양 아니 티몽치 원로 트니 난기 원로 니예베 나래 장 티몽치 원로 바 드니 로도 남바시 가줄니까와 세민다바 레준드 코레리 미믹시에베 나운데 다른 값을 파바데 드니 레준드 템베 카브레스
So the teaching today is on the preliminary practices to the Guru's heart practice, dispeller of all obstacles, and there are 5 main topics here. first, the meaning of the phrase preliminary practices. Second, how the preliminary practices are important. Third, the extensive, medium length, and concise preliminary practices. Fourth, how the preliminary practices gather the accumulations that purify the obscurations. And fifth, the different types of preliminary practices. And among the three types of preliminary practices, the preliminaries of material items, the preliminaries to the meditation session, and the preliminaries to the main part. Within the preliminaries to the main part, there are the outer common preliminaries, the inner uncommon preliminaries, those two. And in the outer common preliminaries, there are the four thoughts that turn the mind from samsara, the difficulty of obtaining the freedoms and advantages, death and impermanence, karma, cause and effect, and the faults of samsara. And now we are on the topic of karma, cause and effect.
Junri kapla tini pangcha mikewe le dupchan kewe le tamje le jiranchi tenpa da somyo ba nang le tini tarin kapsa pa pangcha mikewe le di tsar ne nipa dupcha kewe le tenpa tere.
So within this topic of karma, cause and effect, there are the three topics of non-virtue, which is to be abandoned, virtue, which is to be taken up, and how everything is of the nature of karma. And having finished the virtue, non-virtue, which is to be abandoned, now we are on the topic of virtue, which is to be taken up.
Dupcha kewa tela yang tini pongsim tenpe kewa chutang chebar drupe kewa chu sine ni yore tini tela yang yewa tan dribi kone chebar chego yore.
Yewa dang, correct?
Dribu kone chebar chego yore.
So within the virtue which is to be taken up, there are two types. The 10 virtues which consist of a mind to abandon, a mind of abandonment, the 10 virtues which relate to a mind of abandonment, and the 10 virtues, the special 10 virtues which should be practiced, which are practiced. And within those as well, there's the discussion of the types of those virtues and the results of the virtues.
pongsim tenpe kewa seti parisege yore sena tini kachang konto lejunde tenpe kapsu tini pangcha mi kewa dupcha kewa tamje legira chin tenpe nane thambu pangcha mi kewa shegi doga ta pangcha mi kewa te pongwar cheba la tini pongche de karichi gore pongsim tengu go yore teni pongsim mi kewa tenbas pongsim tenpe kewas.
Oh. So as for the first of these, the virtue which consists of a mind of abandonment or intention to abandon. When we went over the first topic among the three topics of the karma, cause, and effect, those three topics of non-virtue, which is to be abandoned, virtue, which is to be taken up, and how everything is the nature of karma. The first topic there that we just went over, the non-virtue, which is to be abandoned, these are the actions which are to be abandoned, and the what allows us or what enables us to abandon those non-virtues is the intention to abandon. So this comes into play here with the 10 virtues which consist of an intention to abandon.
Mikewa 뽕셈 마틴 바이나 테니 빵참 미게웨 레테다 빵투피 요레베스나 빵투피 요마레스.
If we may ask the question, is it possible to abandon the non-virtues without the intention to abandon them? This is not possible.
뽕셈 땐 바이나 테니 빵참 미게웨 레테다 빵투피 요레스. 다 빵참 미게웨 레테다 빵와이나 테니 게와투피 요레스. 게와레스.
So if we do have the intention to abandon non-virtue, then we will be able to abandon it. And that very abandoning of non-virtue itself is virtue.
게와 요바디 테니 컨디션 요레스나 테니 참에 되면 나라 테니 미게 주보 빵 게와 주 송요. 미게 주보데 빵와이나 테니 게와 주레 송요.
충분히
참에 되면 참에는 뭐지 손적이 되면 도와 되면 만남 제바. 대화 진짜 제바 만남 제바 싫어. 뭐서 상제기 뒤바로 뭐서 이제 많이 못 제바. 다 참에는 뭐지 손적.
So so how does that abandonment of the non-virtues become virtue? No, this is referred to, explained in the aspiration prayer by Chagme Rinpoche, when he said, abandoning the 10 non-virtues is itself the 10 virtues.
타 미게와 주빵바이나 게와다 레둑데 게와 임비 금생 칸레스나스.
So we may then also ask the abandoning the 10 non-virtues is virtue. Those are then the 10 virtues, but how is that? How does that become virtue?
예, 전주나가 자세 쇼알레 카르송 요레스나. 뽕웨 셈니 템발레 수림 바로 침바르 시송하레. 네 미게와 뽕셈 총화 텔레 아니 수림 바로 침바데야 테니 용기 요레스 고레스.
So this is explained by the Bodhisattva, the son of the victorious ones, Shantideva, when he says in the Bodhicharyavatara, he said having an intention to abandon itself is the paramita, the perfection of discipline. So this refers to that if we have this intention to abandon a non-virtue this in our mind, then that is itself is the perfection of discipline.
다 뽕셈 템바이나 테니 텔라테네 아니 수림 게트고요. 다 수림 게바이나 아니 텔라테네 아니 게와 게트고요. 게와 게바이나 텔레테네 아니 바연토고요. 근데 미게와 빵와들아 아니 게와 연구요 바디 경제 가르스는 바르들로 출중도와.
So in this way, if we have that intention to abandon non-virtue, then that itself is discipline. And then when we have discipline, that itself is virtue. And with that virtue, then there are the benefits that come with that. So we can see here how in this like a process, there's a role for discipline. Discipline has a role in there.
지당기 테니 게와 마체바 라테네 미게와 마체바 라테네 테니 게와 토기 여르베스나 하데 토기 요마레스 토기 마임비 겸젠 카레스나 뽕셈 테 요마레스.
So generally, very generally, if you're just abandoning non-virtue, will not accomplish virtue. One doesn't necessarily fall together. And the reason is that we can abandon non-virtue without having the intention to abandon it. That's why it would not become virtue.
근데 말하면서 되네 동생 맞된 나양 되네 소무증이 되네 뭔가 되도 소무증이 요래 맞지 미개와 좀 미치게 뭔가 요러 아이나양 텔라 개와 토기 레베스나 토기 말에 하르스나 봉셈 땡어 말어 봉셈 데 마덴데 아니 가리 용거 말에 술좀 용거 말에 술딘 데 마용데 아니 가리께 두고 말에 개와께 두고 말에 개와디 마게디 아니 가리 용거 말에 팬데 두고 말에 세상 봉셈 데 거기도와
Yeah, so if there's no intention to abandon non-virtue, then that virtue will not come about because there's many people in the world we see around us who, for example, they don't kill any being, but they don't have the intention to abandon that. And there's many people who don't steal and so on and so forth, don't do any of the 10 non-virtues. But on the other hand, they don't have that intention. And since they don't have that intention to abandon a non-virtue, they will not have a discipline. And without the discipline, they will not have a virtue. And then therefore they won't get the benefits of virtue.
현디 봉sem디 때 봉sem도 미교와 봉sem디 땜바이나 개와 탐지야 끼토바 되네 봉sem디 마덴바이나 개와 탐지야 끼미토바 된다 시레도
So that being the case, if we don't have the intention to abandon non-virtue, we won't be able to generate virtue. And if we on the other hand, if we do have the intention to abandon non-virtue, we will be able to generate a lot of virtue. So you can see how the key factor is the intention to abandon.
현디 타타나가 안onzo 개와 족구구요래 개와 족발라 되네 봉셈 땡고 아 봉셈 때나 개와 든저 림바신도 용토기도 와
So for us, for our part, we have to accomplish virtue. We have to practice virtue. And in order to do that, we need the intention to abandon. So you can see for us how this is very important, the intention to abandon.
다 되니 아니 가르스고래 개와 야고 줍톱네 뒤다도 개와 줍톱겐 된적이 되니 뒤다도 미개와 봉sem데 랩토구요래 이나양 되니 뒤다도 다 미개와 창마 봉sem데 랩 미트건지 여러와 다 된저 냠낸 간데 제거래 세나 되니 최상다 뒤상기 값서 되니 간저 봉sem데 때니 개와 두고 그래서 이마 딱봐 코프니 가서 미개와 마치바 대도 말아 미개와 지기래 아니 봉sem데 제도 말아 제마tum 다 거기 되니 최상서대 최와 상보다 최와 주당 정하다 미시정하당 남강더보이나 네 레갑스다 코봉선체 아니 뒤상서나더니 로레를 뒤진 전부도 텐절로 봉선체고
So for somebody, there are people who can practice virtue very continually and really practice only virtue. And this is because they have that strong intention to abandon non-virtue. But not everybody is able to do that. We often are not able to always have that intention to abandon non-virtue. And because we don't always have that intention to abandon non-virtue, we're not able to continually practice virtue. So what to do in that case for people like that who cannot continually have that intention to abandon and practice virtue? What we can do is cultivate that intention to abandon and practice virtue on during certain times, such as, for example, the special lunar days during the month, the new moon, the 10th, and the full moon, the 25th, and so on. And then there are also the festival days, the special days that occur throughout the year, once a year. So what we can do is, on those occasions, since we can't have the intention to abandon all the time continually, we can cultivate the intention to abandon and practice virtue on these occasions.
가든저기 세상 대상마 이나양 드니 봉심 템베게 이자송와이나 드니 텔라양 개와 덮기요레스.
So if we cultivate the intention to abandon and practice virtue on these kinds of occasions, like the special days of the lunar month, special lunar days, and the special days in the year, then we will be able to practice and obtain virtue.
양 세상 대상라양 드니 미개와주 봉무 등인데 봉심 때문에 등인데 여나 드니 미개와 쭉이 나네 레레 니니더고 이나양 드니 봉심 땡고요레스. ene sok cheba tapu je nga chigi me sene pongsim temba ina ne sok cheba chigi kewa yores lang tini pongsim chigi kewa yores.
So then it's possible that we may not be able to even give rise to intention to abandon all of the non-virtues on those occasions, even on the special lunar days and the special festival days. So in that case, what we can do is just abandon one or a couple of the non-virtues at a time. For example, if we decide to abandon killing, just that one non-virtue of killing, then there is a virtue generated by that also.
지성투절라니 사가다와라 단다값을 미든지 둔나 시아사기메 센티니 속죄직 방기도와 속죄직 방위기다 봉심 땡기도와 온다 속죄직 경도기 개와열레스.
For example, now the Sakadawa, this special month of the year had just started, and many people now, because it's Sakadawa, they're saying they will have the practice of not eating meat during this month. So this is a way of abandoning killing, actually. So, and this is actually when people are doing this, they have the intention there to abandon killing. So they have the intention to abandon killing, and then they actually abandon that, and they gain virtue from abandoning killing in that way.
양 이게와 주인나네 드니 봉심 땡베케와 내레니니야 제문톱게 땡레이나 아니 가르치고레스나 드니 닝옹만 조기타 이게와 치르고라 첸랑은 좀 얄디고라 이나 첸랑은 좀 이게와 제고 말아 이나야 첸라야 니라 미게와 제가 가가 깨듯이 첸랑은 미게와 지금에 봉심 땡바 이나 양 개와 요레스.
The 봉심 미게와 니니스
미게와 찍니 단단한 좀 미게와 찍니 봉겐데 lep서 아 미게와 찍니야 봉모 등인데서但你말라 미게와 찍니야 봉모 등인데서 아니 첸라 첸라가 미게와 찍메 첸라다 코 미게와 제고 말도 이네 셈게 나라 삼 딱한 첸라다 미게와 찍메 삼니 데 삼바이나 텔라양 개와 요레스.
So then if there's somebody who is not able to have an intention to abandon killing, for example, or one of the non-virtues, or one or two of the non-virtues, just on those lunar days, special lunar days or festival days, they can't do that, then for that type of person, they can decide not to do a particular non-virtue at nighttime. So even though we were not generally not doing much non-virtue during nighttime, there's still possibility to have that intention to not kill, for example, during the nighttime, and this will also enable them to practice virtue.
Tsering kapsuda nganzo migewa chuba tsama chigimi sanne kamza chenayan chigidwa. Chenada migewa chuda kanje chigimara mang chigida. Chigimida chigi jiri inay mang chewa chigimara. Ta mang chewa michiba michingi dazo nga chigimi sin kamza shachana tela panyan yore.
So if we make this kind of commitment or intention to abandon killing during the nighttime when we're sleeping, for example, this is actually has a benefit of we will accomplish virtue, even though generally people aren't doing much non-virtue at that time. There's still a benefit to that as well.
Tini ta tetabula panyan yomba de ane kandavasana ngama tini papa kadayana shibasi tini gilongji yore esi goro. Tini gilongdi teksa de lungba tila tini shenpashi yore esi sanjin suni shenpashi tidaba. Tini kogi kajere esi na gilongdi ki yunla proni ane nga tsenla sok chigi me esi ko ta gilongdi gundila tamza shaare esi. Chirtam ko tsenla sok chigi marade inna yung tini ko tsenla yung tamza shaare ko ta tsenla nga sok chigi me tamza shaare yongdi tini jema de shenpa di shi di ane ko nyechewe nyalwa la kere esi goro. Nyechewe nyalwa la kere nyinla ko tini nyawa jaksagi sashiki tini me bade dungan yongu yore esi. Inna yung tsenla yango shingamki sajida wuzilene. Tini kandoma shiki kola chuba chupul pe kigu chene te hindegi lojishi yore esi. Tate karasana pongwe tamzedi kawai na shachukudwa. Tsenla ya shachukudwa, nyinla ya shachukudwa.
So there's a story that illustrates this practice of committing not to do non-virtue during the night. A long time ago, there was a monk named Katyayana, and around where he was, there was a butcher, and the butcher went to Katyayana and told him, I want to take a vow with you in front of you that I will not kill any being at nighttime. And so he took this vow in front of the monk Katyayana. And so anyway, he wasn't going to be killing really during the night in any case, but nevertheless he took that vow. And by the force of that vow, after he died, he was born into they call the ephemeral hell, or the ephemeral hell. And in this situation that he was in his next life, during the day he would be in a kind of like a burning, torturously hot building in a kind of hellish situation. And then at the nighttime, he would be in a kind of like a heavenly realm, heavenly situation, and kind of just being really happy and enjoying himself with the many dakinis around him and so on and so forth. So, and that was due to him taking that vow that he wouldn't kill during the nighttime. So the point is that we can practice this intention to abandon at any time. It's very flexible. We can do that during the nighttime or also during the daytime.
Chapongsan kewa lang pangsul mandawa toa kashekini ta yongso pangji ni sitanza shagire kashekini ta chesang tuzang la pangji ni sitanza shagire kashekini ta nga 미게 쪽인 안에 레니 거기 있음체 하신데 더 체라인 탐제셔게 방송 먼저 와도 방송 먼저 와도 탐질라다 봉심 템바이나 개와 요레스 이 표현 요레스
There's many different ways to practice this intention to abandon non-virtue. Some people may abandon non-virtue entirely, have that intention, and the intention to abandon non-virtue entirely, continually, and others may just abandon non-virtue on those special winter days or festival days, and some may decide to abandon only some of the non-virtues, 1 or 2 or 3 or what have you of the non-virtues. And some may decide to abandon some non-virtues during a certain time, like the daytime or the nighttime. So these are all good ways to do it, and they all allow any of those ways will allow us to accomplish virtue. And there's so many ways to do it, and we will also get the benefits from doing that.
한도나 ini 봉심 템베 개와티 ini 미게와 텐수기 예믹 시에네 다테 미체 신sem기 삼바탐 ini nga기야 미체 라바탐 ini 르기야 ini 레미게와 텐수 미체바이 미체베게 탐자 켈랑와이나 다텐 개we 표현 요레스
So, in summary, if we understand the harm and faults of non-virtue, and then with that understanding make the intention in our mind that I will not commit non-virtue, and also with our speech declare that intention that I will not commit non-virtue, and then if we don't then do the non-virtue with our body we avoid doing non-virtue, then by doing all of that, this intention of abandonment and the abandoning a non-virtue, by doing all of that, we will be practicing virtue.
다 봉심 템베 개와텔라 드니 담자샤드 값수 드니 윤라 율 메나양 되기레스 담자샤사기 율 메나양 소소기 지기 메 삼나양 드니 아리 지기 메 삼바텐 졸라텐 프레 요레스 딩기 율양 곰니 야콘지 숨드고 곰니 아니 되기 뒤나 드니 마텐 지기 메 미게와드 지기 메스 담자 샤나야 보요레스 야만라마 기웨신인 지꾼니네 담자샤바이나 아니 텐소 페엔 체레스 율삼네테네 담자샤바 당라마 교회신이 군들러는 담자샤바이나 대파연 체와레스 근데 아니저거 기트네 담자샤바 대파연 총와레 대파연 요레스 파연 총와레스
So as far as how we make the commitment in practice, it's possible we may make this commitment without any like an object that we're to witness it, so to speak, or without anyone to make that commitment to. And this is okay, we can do that. And then it's also possible to make the commitment by visualizing the object that we're making the commitment to, such as the 3 jewels, our gurus, our teachers, and so on. And if it's possible, better to do it that way. And even better than that is if we were able to actually have a guru or a teacher physically with us and make the commitment to them in that way. So any of those ways it will work, and there will be benefits. Although to visualize the object that we make the commitment to, or to have, even better, to have a teacher there in person there's much more benefit to that, but there is still a benefit to doing it without anyone in front of you.
단이바 Kebar Drupla Chodi Condelesana Tini Kebar Sidikapsu Tini Taji Tongsem Temba Tele Kebar to Kapa the Kebar Drupla in Baina Tini Kebar Drupla choose.
So now for the second,
Drupla
the second type of virtue, which is the special virtue, which is put into practice, which is actually, which is actually done or practiced. So what this refers to is what the term means there is that this type of virtue is special, or it's a little bit superior to merely abandoning non-virtue. So we actually practicing the virtue or doing something, we're putting into practice the virtue. So this is why it's called special virtue, which is put into practice.
Kebar Drupla Chibo de Kanesena Tini Sokje Pane Semjenji Sokja Pugure Terluki Kewa Tambore Tini Majil Lemba Pane Jimba Tambu Yore Terluki Kewa Nibare Tini Delo Pane Sudim Sungu Yore Terluki Kewa de Sumbate es.
So what are these special virtues which are put into practice? Well, first of all, abandoning killing and protecting the lives of sentient beings. This is the first virtue of the body. And abandoning stealing, and then in place of that, practicing generosity. This is the second virtue of the body. And abandoning sexual misconduct, and instead of that, putting into practice discipline. This is the third virtue of the body.
Sokja Batela Tini Chirdangi Sokja Batele Jang Tini Andro Shisarniva Midis Shisaniva and then Joba Inatini Sokja Pain Choa Yores Ananjenji Tini Majin Lemba Jimbatawate Tini Sasenji Chuji Mare Jimbatawate Yugonjo Sumla Chobambula Yana Trangbula Jimbatawa Ina Tini Pain Choa Yores Tini Chudum Songwati 예제 좀 기회 주든지 선전 텐데지 틀림 송어라 선전 텐데지 틀림다고 제가 있나 근데 바인 제와래 예송
So, and then furthermore, among the different ways we could protect the lives of sentient beings, the way that has the most benefit, the most virtue, is to protect the life of an animal that is close to death or is in danger of dying, and similarly, to protect the life of a human who is in danger of dying. And then among the different ways we could practice generosity, if we are practicing the generosity of material objects, of giving material things, then the most powerful and beneficial way to do that is to give material things, offer to the three jewels, offer them to the three jewels, and also to give to beggars, to the poor. And as far as the different ways to practice discipline, there are the discipline of avoiding negative actions, the discipline of gathering virtue, and the discipline of benefiting beings. So the best among those is the discipline of benefiting beings that has the most benefit and the most virtue.
네 진 밤에 테니 템퍼마코레스 띵아키케와 탐보레스 네 차마방에 콘바톰 코고요레스 띵아키케와 니바레스 네 칠죽방에 테니 냠버마코고요레스 냠버마 그래서 냠보샤고요레스 디시나 닝아키케와 숨바레스 네 아니 그 마켈방에 테니 컨텐츠 계절 제공이래서 땡아기께와 시바레스
So, and as far as if we abandon lying, then we have to then practice speaking the truth, and this is the first virtue of speech. And then if we abandon divisive speech and then practice trying to create harmony between people and bring people together, then this is the second virtue of the speech. And if we abandon harsh speech and then take up the practice of speaking nicely, talking to people nicely and in a saying nice things to people, speaking nicely, then this is the third virtue of speech. And if we abandon meaningless speech and then begin to practice recitation, reciting texts and so on, Buddhist texts, then this is the fourth virtue of speech.
Tene napsem pangne tene tongsem gomku yores te yiki gewa tambures. Ne sempangne tene pensem chamdan ningje gomku yores te yiki gewa nibares. Tene lokta pangne tene tawa yang thoba kyula tengo yores yiki gewa sumbares.
So then if we abandon covetousness and greed and then put into practice a generous attitude of generosity, then this is the first virtue of the mind. And if we abandon ill will and then always put into practice loving kindness and compassion, this is the second virtue of the mind. And if we abandon wrong views and then hold the authentic true view, then this is the third virtue of the mind.
Ta te chu de tene gewa imba tene kumbulu tene sumba. Ma tang timo ne tike zene gewa o songre. Ane duja shitang timo sumbang tal songwa. Ane semba karbu ke chawa kang keba he ane gewa re song.
So the Lord Nagarjuna has thought about this, and he said the desire, anger, and ignorance, those three, whatever karma is produced by those three is non-virtue. And then the opposite of that is that when we are free from those afflictive emotions and free from a non-virtue, and our mind is in a virtuous state, in a good state, then whatever we do in that state then is virtue.
Ta te nam tene ta kewe ki gyurwa. Ta kewe ki gyudila tene ngaranzu ta tene ngaranzu nyamsu langsarwa. Te drugu gurwa. Tene kebaran drupe kewa sikita drugu gudwa. Pyoje tangu gudwa. Lela pyoje tangu gudwa tene karsi gore ta di. Kewa chibo te nani kewa toku yoba di ani kare di parla le chawa chidwa. ngaranzu kewa di chigidwa ngaranzu ta tene karsi gore. 속제 반에 샘진지 속잡 거래 속잡이 차와지 지기도 와 차와디 지기 요디 때는 개와 열에서 되게죠.
So those that mental state is the cause of virtue then in that way when our mind is in that good mental state. But then in this context, when we are talking about the special virtues that are put into practice, we have to put them into practice. So there's something that we're doing. For example, when we protect the life of a sentient being, this is something that we have to do. It's an action. So it's that action itself that is the virtue.
Chawa cheba kare drupa chato. Chepar ki drupa sigitoa.
So that action that we do in that circumstance, that is what is referred to as what is put into practice, which is the what these virtues are called, the special virtues which are put into practice. So, yeah.
Ta drupa de la tende, tene gewa tokitoa. Ta gewa de la tende, tene poyen tokure. Poyen toba di ta trebu shebora.
So it's in the dependence on that action, on the putting into practice, that the virtue is created, that we practice the virtue. And then it's in dependence on that virtue that we then will experience and obtain the benefits. So this brings us now to the next, to talk about now the results, the benefits.
Ta trebu te la yang, tene naminji trebu, yutenji trebu, wangi trebu, gewu chebe trebu se kanzo kondon da shuba na shinji shiyo res.
So as for the results, they are the same. The results of virtue are the same for that I explained before. The result of ripening, the result of the result which is in accordance with the cause, the dominating result or the predominant result, and the result of human action.
Ta naminji trebu te la, tene Bongsen tenbe gewa tam, chipar trupe gewa tenzo tene Ngo che yongde tene hala soba jeto res. Ta bongsen ge gewa tam, tene chipar trupe gewa tenzo tene jing chebe ge tene hamena kiri. Ne bongsen tenbe gewa tam, chipar trupe gewa te tama chiyang ta mila kiri res.
So if we as far as for the result of ripening, when we may practice a very large amount of, like a really huge amount of the virtue, which is the intention to abandon, and the special virtue which is put into practice. If we accomplish a lot of that, then we will be reborn in the God realm. And if we accomplish a kind of medium amount of the virtue which is an intention to abandon, and the virtue which is put into practice, the special virtue put into practice, then we may be reborn in the demigod realm. And if we practice just a small amount of those two, then we will be born as a human.
Torna tene gewa tenam cheba la tene torisum kangon do ge te tene tarba chadunji gewa la tene rimba shin do chukdubu yores.
So in summary, if we practice these kinds of virtues in any amount, the virtue of an intention to abandon and the special virtue which put into practice, then we will be reborn in the three higher realms. And then when we're in the three higher realms, little by little, or along the way, eventually we will also be able to carry out the karma which leads to liberation, the karma that's conducive to liberation.
Iga gyutin tribu tela tini chiba gyutin ta nyungwa gyutin se niyo res. Chiba gyutin de kare se na tini tserap nema la soba tini kansa de kiwe kumshe pongsem tenbe gewa tang chibar trube gewa tenzo ani kumshe la tene tanda yang tedabo cheba nen tela gawa la soba yungi res. Tedi ani chiba gyutin res ta gewa chuk changman da tedabo yungi res.
Now, for the second type of result, which is the result which is in accordance with the cause, we have the two types of the result in accordance with the cause. The result in accordance with the cause of action and the result in accordance with the cause of experience. So the result in accordance with the cause of action means that whatever virtue we did in our past lives, whether it consists of that virtue of an intention to abandon or the special virtue which is put into practice, as a result of doing those virtues in our past lives, in the present life, we will we will have a habit to keep on doing those virtues, and we will enjoy doing them and have a interest in doing those virtues.
tini nyungwa gyutin de la tini sokje pangwe tsering shing ne nyung somar sosiba kangwa inbeki nyungwa gyutin de la tini tsering wa ne nyungwa yungi res tanda nga ramzu tedabo mangu tuwayan towa tate giwe nyungwa gyutin.
So then, as for the result in accordance with the cause of experience, as a result of abandoning killing and protecting life, then one will have a long life and be free of illness. So there's many people that we know like this, right? Who have this situation, and this is a result in accordance with the cause which is experience. Result in accordance with the cause of experience.
tini majin lemba pangbe tini longje tenshin tini jadam kuma la soba yung ma reso.
And by abandoning stealing, then one will be rich in material wealth, and one will not be bothered by enemies or thieves.
Hello pangbe tini kimtap zilshi tini ganda nyungsa.
Janda. So then,
Sasang tini dachag marila. Dachang tanyung res.
Then by abandoning sexual misconduct, we will have a beautiful spouse, and we will not have many enemies or rivals.
Ren pangbe gungki dojeng cham song.
And by abandoning lying, then everybody will praise us and show affection towards us.
Chama pangbe koryo kuis.
And by abandoning divisive speech, the people around us, maybe that work for us and so on, will all be in harmony.
Chiksuk pangbe nyembar tues.
And by abandoning harsh speech, then we will always hear pleasant speech.
Ngakel siya mara. Ngakel pangbe samden troops.
And by abandoning meaningless speech, we will be able to accomplish our aims.
Kanasana ngaja pang samden troops da. Mare napsing ra ngakel. Tanda ngakel pangbe chikjuns.
This one is actually for the
Chiksuk pangbe nyembar tu ngakel pangbe chikjuns.
So this one actually was for the covetousness and greed that will accomplish our aims, but for abandoning meaningless speech, our words will be honorable. Yeah.
그래서 직접 당하자. 직접대 님들께 맞은 방 직진서. 아니 납심 방배 안 삼든도.
And by abandoning covetousness and greed, we will be able to accomplish our aims.
내심 방배 체화 단차.
And by abandoning ill will, we will be free of hostility and violence towards us.
녹다 방배 따와 상부 규례제 손. 다테 탐제 네 망원 규틴레스.
So then by abandoning wrong views, we will begin to hold the true view in our mind. So these are all the results in accordance with the cause which are experienced.
다 숨바 옹기지부터다 율라밍기레스. 다 가상양 미개와 값상 율라밍기도. 다 단다 계획 값상 율라밍기레스. 다 당보 로도 투체. 로도 니바침보. 로도 투체와 드네 투스민바. 니바 투스메바. 숨바 신도 미기로와. 시바 로신바. 로도 투체 투스민 신도 미기로와. 제부송와 로신바. 땐도 롤렉바. 루체와 룰라 펜바. 아니 랑기 롱체바르 키로바. 아니 주망보 펠게 차와. 근데 줄라서 봤더니 세기초 가리임바. 탐제 야구차기로 했어.
네, 다음은
로도 투체와
투체라서
투스민바.
그렇죠.
첸도 미제와 제부송와 로신바. 땐도 롤렉바. 랑기 롱제바르 키로와. 주망와 펠게체와. 주상송 주열다. 하지만 뒤다다 뭐. 로도 투체와 투스민바. 첸도 미제와 제부송와 로신바. 롤렉바. 랑기 롱제바르 키로와. 주망와 펠게체와.
All right. So then, as for the dominant effect or the predominant effect, you can say dominating effect, this
진나는 직체제 릴레 펜바다.
did trigger it. Yeah. So this ripens on the place where we are. Just as in with the non-virtues, and it was the same way, right? The dominating effect or the predominant effect, it ripened on the environment, on the place. So it's the same with the this dominating effect for the virtues. And so as far as the food situation is concerned, this means the dominating effect of practicing virtue is that the food and the crops that we have where we'll be living will be very potent in their nourishing capability, and also the crops will ripen and be able to be harvested on time, and the crops will not turn out the wrong way or turn out in a different way than they should. And the crops will also bear fruit. They'll bear the proper fruit. And the food will be tasty and delicious. And the food will otherwise be able to be harvested very well, and everything will be kind of good quality. And the fruits and the crops will be very large, a large amount, large in size, and they will be beneficial to the body. They'll be healthy, and they will be available, possible for us to eat. And some of these.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. And then finally, it will be always increasing. So as far as our food situation goes, that will be the dominating effect for practicing virtue.
하디 저 안에 세기리로 세기릭 디테레 아니 율기릭 데라 타네 가상 먼저 공도 되네 미기웨 템보 왕기 템보 율녜바 망고시기라도 율녜바 텔렌 돈이 독초 율상보 라시바 퍼슴소바 텐들레 지기레서.
So this is as far as the food situation. As far as other parts of the dominating effect for virtue, if you remember last time when we were talking about the dominating effect of non-virtue, there were all those descriptions of the type of place that would result from that dominating effect of non-virtue. This kind of dangerous places that are difficult to get around and not pleasant and so on. So for the dominating effect of virtue, it's just the opposite of that. We will be born into a place that is really perfect and everything like goes well and is auspicious and so on.
아시바 기부 제베르부테 네 교회레 강 제바테 드네 망고 펠네 헤네 세디다 개와치마 세럽탐 제도 드네 교회레 야체로 표현에 드네 토리담 드네 다르바 탐지지도 고방크베 아니 빈데 차베기 요레스.
So as for the fourth type of result, which is called the result of human action, this refers to how when we perform virtue, it will continue to increase. And throughout this life and our next life and all our future lives, any virtue we do will continue to kind of increase and gather more into itself. More virtue will be gathered, and we will experience happiness in those lives, and eventually be able to go onto the path of liberation and omniscience. That is the result of human action of virtue.
타 제부된저 페인도와 타 페인된데 아니 제부된저 마랑들로 드네 톱지에 바데양 드네 고글루드 간소여세네 겔레 딘도 탐제담 개와 군든 대와 닥송 게벨레 제벨라 때네 드네 네트워크 그릭라당 밀라 소버네 톱기레스 니케와 탐제도 드네 디기 양토버 톱기레스 숨도.
So all of these results are benefits. This is are something that helps us. It benefits. So it's just as was taught by Nagarjuna, that he said, by practicing virtue, one will attain the higher realms and happiness in all of one's lives. So it means by doing virtue, we will be able to be born in the higher realms, the human and God realms, and so on. And in all of our lives, we will experience perfect happiness.
겔레 데조 탐제스 데조스나 토리숨을 거고래 개와 렐라 때네 데조 토리숨 토비레스 겔레 데조 탐다 개와 긴도 디기 닥스나 디기스나 네갑게 펜바담 타르두기 디기 엔데 토비레스.
So in this verse, it says, by practicing virtue, one obtains the higher realms or the realms of happiness, and in all one's lives, one obtains happiness. So the higher realms that he's referring to there are the three higher realms. And then when he says, in all one's lives, one will attain happiness, this refers to the temporary happiness within samsara, and then finally the ultimate happiness of liberation.
한데 제발 안타 르체케와레 신 시신에다 탐지 레지랑 시스템 바트 능용이레스.
So now I have finished explaining the virtue which is to be taken up, and now we have arrived at the topic of the explanation of how everything is karma.
타야기 탐지 레지랑 시스템 바트 타야기 포시베 세모네 마기다 냐게 티안라 투기 파르트 메베테니 심진 대다 탐제 테니 갑서거래 라랑기 제부 근데 뚝나 서버시는 거요래.
So all the way from the summit of existence at the very height of the universe, the highest level of the universe, all the way down to hell, the beings in this entire universe, they experience various kinds of suffering and happiness.
다 되다 본데도 나 소바 중앙 태양 테네 미주메 반데 중앙 마임바 테네 삭지지 계획 개와다 미개와 미또야 텐데 테네 나나스다 대와탄 동안 나 소바시 만다와 테네 닝용 위레스.
So all of those experiences of happiness and suffering, they don't come about without their own causes. They don't come about without a cause. It is due to the actions of defiled virtue and of non-virtue, that all these various experiences come about. They are caused by, they have their own specific causes of different actions of virtue and non-virtue.
네. 저와 레이두빈나 테네 토리당 예송스니 이예와 지기도 이예와 제용의 중전대 가르스나 빅바당 개와 예발라 때네 이예와 제송 빅바 예발라 때네 예송스샤 개와 예발라 때네 토리스샤.
So the realms of samsara are divided into these two categories of the higher realms and the lower realms, right? But what is the reason for that categorization into those two parts? The basis for the categorization is on the basis of the two categories of virtue and non-virtue. So the higher realms, the category of the higher realms is made based on there being virtue related to it, and the category of the lower realms is then related to non-virtue.
자, 로아릴룩 샤바데 가르스나 점제 가르스나 마나운즈 줄은 녀몽도 투요. 녀몽도 투를 때네 다 로아릭 투차고.
And what is the reason for the division into 6 realms? We have 6 afflictive emotions within our selves, within our minds. So it's on the basis of the 6 afflictive emotions that then there are 6 realms.
마나운즈로 시당도와 헬라테네 냐르와차오. 마나운즈로 셋나도와 헬라테네 이다차오. 마나운즈로 때묵도와 헬라테네 튼도차오. 다 대신도 테네 대샤밤 개와이냠도 되발라 때네 미.
And likewise, on the basis of virtue together combined with desire, one will be born in the human realm.
가르스나 미디 단다 조디안에 도자기 풍기요로 셴바 shimba chimbo kita mize pungitoa wangtire. Ta chakto tang ane gewa nyamdo drema tene lamin.
Dushu wenten mize pongwa san mize pongwa. Dushu wenten mi
shimba chaksang de shimba ra. Mila dosha shu chimbo doa tene mize zhonglo tango doa shimba.
So and this is because, as we can see, humans, we are kind of ruined by our desire. So it means because of all the attachment and desire that we have, that causes our ruins as humans. And then virtue mixed together in combination with jealousy will then result in the demigod realm.
Ene ngaja dang gewa nyamdo drema tene la.
And then pride mixed together with virtue, this will result in the god realm.
대도와 메디 다자기 풍기도와 하민디 차도기 풍기도와 하디다 마자기 풍기요레스.
So that's how it works, isn't it? Humans are ruined by desire, and demigods are ruined by their jealousy, and gods are ruined by their pride. So in this way, it is on the basis of the 6 afflictive emotions that the 6 realms come about. So all of this comes about on the basis of karma, right? Independence on karma. So that being the case, we have to take care to observe the karma cause and effect. And we have to observe and act accordingly to cause and effect, because we all want happiness, right? And none of us want suffering. So in order to get that result, in order to attain happiness and avoid suffering, we have to put into practice according to their causes and effects. And so the way in which we have to observe cause and effect and practice according to cause and effect, to live our lives according to cause and effect, this was taught by Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna taught about this to the king. Nagarjuna taught this to the king Dejuzangbo, the excellent happiness or excellent happy conduct, something like that is his meaning of the king's name. But anyway, he taught about how we have to observe cause and effect in the verse that says, he said, O king, when the time comes and you have to leave, your friends and your family, your possessions will not follow you. Wherever people go, it is their karma that will follow them like a shadow. So So this is what he taught, that it is our karma that follows us. It's our karma that goes after us wherever we go. And there's so that being the case, we have to observe the kind of workings of karma, of a cause and effect, and live according to karma, cause and effect. Because there's so many people with so much wealth and so many material possessions and so on and so forth. But we can't take any of that with us into the next life. None of that will follow us into the next life after we die. But what does follow us is our karma. That's the only thing that will follow us. And therefore, we are kind of under the power of karma. We have to live according to karma. And for that reason, then we have to observe karma, cause and effect, and kind of have a discipline or live our life according to karma, cause and effect.
달린데 송세지 되니 송수디 되니 틱바방에 있다 개와 줍출 들어와.
So the way, what is meant by observing cause and effect or practicing our life according to cause and effect, this consists of abandoning non-virtue and putting into practice virtue.
자 틱바방에 개와 줍교기나 되니 줍출 테라 되는 거랑 저 쳔바다 시신 버에 된서 땡고레스 대땡백군에 두고요레스.
So if we need to abandon virtue and put into practice, abandon non-virtue and put into practice virtue, the way that we have to do that, how we can do that, is we have to always be practicing mindfulness. We always have to be training in mindfulness and attentiveness and carefulness.
근데 정말 라마초이나 드네 틱바방술 개와 줍순데 가르신 두고요레스나 그러나 저지 아디샤라보이나 드니 공 소다르기 domba 켈라네 드니 소다르기 domba 지장 고마뇽스 아니 장섬지 domba 켈라네 티 장섬지 dom바티 아니 레레 니니 숨숨더버지 공로 괜총송스 아니 나기 domba 직랑온데 드니 나기 니바드니 페마세망보 차르바자바 나싱드네 니바망보 총송스 인나양 공기 니바티 니마 레레라드니 샥돔치기요스 중마 타도시 시만 타도 샥돔치 겨바치에치기요스.
So how did the masters of the past and our masters, how did they abandon virtue and abandon non-virtue and put into practice virtue? How did they maintain this practice of cause and effect? Well, a good example is the venerable Atisha, the Lord Atisha. He took the vows of individual liberation, and he said that he never broke those vows. He never broke the vows of individual liberation. And similarly, he took the bodhisattva vows. And with the bodhisattva vows, he said now and then he would break them. There would be a breach here and there of the bodhisattva vows. And he also held the tantric samayas, and he said that as far as those go, as far as the tantric samayas, he was continually breaking the tantric samayas, just like the continual rainfall. So he did actually break those vows, but the thing is that he also said he would always also continually confess those breakages and repair them. So as soon as he would break one of the vows, he would be aware of it, become aware of it, and then as soon as he was aware of it, he would confess it and then mend it in that way.
근데 인데 공개 향하는 되고 봐에 개와들이라 드네 템바시시 봐야 되는 스탱기도와 갸셀라레 나양 가르송 랑기 투바 랑기 마다마 셔베 소송 최면체스베 디지 랑기 디지 균도 랑기 투바라 땅니 보와 갸셀라레 미스 다 tikba pango de kewa drubu du yena tene ngarangzo de la ngarangzo la tene samlo mangdo tango tenpa shishin payo.
So this is the way to practice this is with mindfulness and attentiveness and carefulness. That's how we have to do it, like Atisha. And it's also taught in the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva that he says, he wrote in that text, if you don't examine your own mistakes, then it's possible that you will be acting contrary to the Dharma while appearing to practice the Dharma. So therefore, to constantly examine your own mistakes and your own faults and then eliminate them is the practice of the Bodhisattva. So what this means is that we always have to examine ourselves and really think very carefully about ourselves, our faults and virtue and non-virtue. So
양님만 라마치기 컨디치기 벌스나 tene kongta tikba sagi yena tene do naguchi kiyelasha. Tene kewa sagi yena do naguchi do karbo kewa sagi yena do karbo chi yenlasha. Te kona takchi chen kewa kache sagi tu tikba kache sagi tu takchi chen taonde tambo tene do nagu mangbo shiuji tongres lamante tongres. O ta jigimi do nge tikba de paone kewa de trupu do sene nyembo tende cheonde tene yang tende do de tene rang shaonde tene karbo de mangande bres. 타마 까르부 양보 망불리에 브레스 텐데스다 개와 빵랑기 내라더니 텐데스는 냐면지게 요레스 그마가시.
And then there's some lamas who what they would do is whenever they find themselves find that they've committed a non-virtue action, they will have a black stone and put it on a pile there. And then whenever they find they have committed a virtuous action, they take a white stone and put it in a different pile. And then by practicing in that way, eventually, at first, there's so many black stones and very few white stones. And then they would think, okay, well, this is this is really bad. I have to do something about that. So then they would remedy the situation and put into practice the remedy for that and practice more virtue. And then slowly there became more white stones and less black stones. And then in the end, they wind up with only white stones, only doing virtue continually.
어때나스 콘남바게 쳐봐마생 안쪽이한테는 아마랑처럼 딱지 치고 요래스 다른 아기 소적이 제가 소적이라고 치기도게 안에 맞는 바치기도게 매상원 저기도게 마기 전시기도게 이게 마기 처마시기도게 마기 특급시기도게 마기 가자치기도게 샘기 남심치기도게 샘지 내심치기도게 샘지 록다 치기도게 했는데 딱지 제거래스 되게 요나 되게 길었단 거래스.
So we have to practice like that. We have to examine ourselves like these examples. And we have to examine ourselves and for example, and ask, oh, am I killing using my body? Am I stealing with my body? Am I practicing sexual misconduct with my body? Am I lying with my speech? Am I speaking divisively? Am I speaking harshly? Am I speaking meaninglessly? Do I have covetous and greed in my mind? Do I have ill will and hostility in my mind? Do I have wrong views in my mind? And we have to examine ourselves in this way. And then if we find we have those non-virtues, then we have to change it.
나신지트니 이 속잡기도게 이 집바당기도게 nge churim sum gitu ge ani nge gi kharse wada temper ma gitu ge khumba to gitu ge ani nyember ma gitu ge ani khanden dan de jela soba chi gitu ge ani 동심 chang gitu ge ani pensem chi gitu ge ani tawa sangbo ya wo kyula ke du ge senjo ta mo re este de tawa ina ani te chi gi ina tela ani jesu yerang chi ka an kawa ko mo res.
And similarly, we have to check ourselves and ask, am I protecting life? Am I saving lives? Am I practicing generosity? Am I giving things away? Am I maintaining discipline? Am I speaking the truth? Am I uh, creating harmony between people, among people? Am I speaking pleasantly and nicely? Am I reciting texts and mantras and so on? Am I do I have an attitude of like a non-attachment? Do I have an attitude of trying of benefiting others? And do I have the right view? Am I holding the right view? We should check ourselves, and then if we find we are doing those things, then we should rejoice and be happy about it.
Atende indi 탐제 레기랑 시tembe nangla tini ngaram tu kyunde sum ko iba ani sungor cheba la tishe phae timba shishin phae sum teng ko iba tenano didu yores.
So within this topic of how everything is the nature of karma, or everything is karma, we have these kind of these things that I've just explained are all what make up that topic. In other words, how we have to observe our conduct in accordance with cause and effect, and how we have to train in mindfulness, attentiveness, and carefulness, and di tamala di jamba shishin pa yutangare di simple
timba shishin phae
tangare
on temples.
Yeah.
tenda indi da degi chela teni shisam cheba tartu di kewala yang kazang na shi chigbare gewe yanla shi chang no ina gewa chimbore gewa yanla sum chang ma ina gewa ding ding re gewa yanla chik dabo ju na teni da shi dabo chik bu ju na gewa chum chum res.
So as far as the basis and the intention, the undertaking, and the completion of the action, it's the same with virtue as it was in the explanation of non-virtue last time. So if we have a virtue that has all four of those components complete, then this is a great virtue, powerful virtue. If we have 3 out of 4, then it's a little bit less. And if we have, for example, just 1 out of those 4, then it's small, not a very powerful virtue.
Ta le dikwa yin jang rong le gewa yin jang rong teni rangi cheba dang chik shenla chedu chukba dang ni rangi jesu yirang cheba dang sum tegi tenla teni changma kulong chikpe ge kone chewa cheba kare yinaya teni dikwa yinaya chikba mingi yore gewa yinaya chikba mingi yores.
And whether it is a virtuous action or a non-virtuous action, first of all, we may perform the virtue ourselves, or cause somebody else, have somebody else do that virtue or non-virtue, do that action, or rejoice and be happy about somebody doing the action. And thirdly, in any of those cases, if we have the same, or if we have the same motivation as the person doing the action, and the same kind of intention, then that whether it's virtue or non-virtue, exactly the same result will ripen for us in any of those circumstances, any of those ways of engaging with the action.
타 레균드 콤베 체디 아니 고살라메 샬로나나 술라 샤요레 사나타니 지즈메라 레발라 샤요레스.
And so the measure of completing this practice that is taught in the words of my perfect teacher, the example that he gives for the measure of the completion of this practice is the Venerable Milarepa.
당한남자 레균드 community 타 sembe 나라티니 가스고레 레균드 콤베 부기 체더부지 티니 지즈메라 샤요라 타 지즈메라 샤요데 컨데 샤워르스나 지즈메라데 컨데르스나 담보 콩게 티니 밀라 투담 서로와점네 티니 미망보 스트롱와르다 미숨주 송한 하스기도 어 텐데 트롱 용디 아니 콤페 셈반 타페사상 당아냐로네 지기레 타디 탑지지 마지나 지금 말에 숨데 티니 코 셈텐데 지기 키르데 아니 콘출라 슈퍼라 출라 슈용데 테니 냠보 망부치 텐데 아니 녀선은 용모고 같은데 청송하라 레긴데 세텐데 시고고 이래서
년손도 녀몽we.
녀선은 용모고
Oh,
손은 도모고
lasso. So yeah, this example of Milarepa is it's the example of somebody who has understood karma, cause and effect, and they have the complete result of that practice, the perfect result of practicing, of contemplating karma, cause and effect. So as far as him, Milarepa, he when he was young, he killed many people, like they say more than 20 or 30 people with the black magic and hailstorms. And then after he did that, he was really kind of regretful about that. He had a lot of regret about that, and he said, "Oh my God, what have I done? Because of what I've done, I'm going to go to hell now. So the only thing for me to do is to practice the Dharma that's necessary." And so he had that single intention, and then he went into meditation, retreats, and so on, and he practiced the Dharma continually. And finally, in the end, he reached that state where he would not have to go to the lower realms.
어야 타타니 레균데 코르tin 시차송 아니 티제양 델라서부도 넨탐체 챕지도 아나마마람 송나스.
So today I've finished explaining karma, cause, and effect, and at the same time now our session is finished, so let's all recite the dedication aspiration together. Sonam de adamje zebani tamne nebe danam panje ne genga na chimba lon trupe sibe tole andro adro sho.
아니 타 탐지기 따냠네 아고 체로나마 테니 카든체 제마자용스.
So I want to say to everyone, please practice well, and we'll see each other later.
Bye.